Good morning, everybody. This is CB with your business reality. And today, my co host is Dr. Melinda Silva.
Hi there.
And we have a special guest, Dr. Carlos Perez. He's a holistic chiropractor, and the name of his company is Back in Motion. Hi, Carlos. How are you?
How's it going, you two? Great to be here.
Hi,
Good.
Carlos.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Now, we're very excited because you're a holistic chiropractor, and there's not a lot of people that do what you're doing. So, tell us a little bit of how you got started.
Absolutely. I started with traditional chiropractic back in 2003. For the most part, I was really focusing on treating sports injuries, a lot of general practice for people that had pains and problems in their back, in their spine, and etc. And in 2010, I went through a major life change without going into super details because that could be a whole nother show. Let's say I got to experience what most of my clients tend to experience in that sense of feeling lost, feeling like they were just living a life of doing things and not really clear on their path or their purpose, which was interesting since I was trying to help people achieve their best and I wasn't feeling my best. And in that same moment, I somehow, I really call it a miracle, felt this pull and this calling that my job here wasn't done, as mystical as that may sound. And I knew that I was here for more than what I was doing. I loved what I was doing, but I don't think it was really fulfilling me the way I expected it to. And that's what got me into sound healing. So I combine my training in chiropractic and I utilize sound frequencies and various instruments to help people physically, mentally, and emotionally. So when people ask me what I do, I have to be very clear that yes, I'm a chiropractor, but it's not the chiropractic that most people come to know. I still can do that, but I'd rather you go to someone else for just that instead of aligning you with your posture and your spine and your joints. I'm really more concerned about checking to see if you're aligned with your mind, your heart, your soul, your purpose, your path with passion. So there's not many people I know that infuse these practices together, and so I'm grateful that I'm somehow, because sometimes I feel it's not me doing running the show, but I'm somehow able to bring these two worlds together. The ancient wisdom, modern technology, and scientific understanding of vibration and frequencies to help people.
Well, I love the mind, body, and soul connection because as I'm also a holistic practitioner, I do integrative medicine. So I blend the world of Eastern and Western medicine and take the best of both worlds. And I love how you've used sound energy to help people to heal. Do you have a story that you could share of how impactful that can really be?
Absolutely. It's there's never a shortage of experiences. I've started to use the phrase, I'm no longer surprised, but I'm always amazed. I really am. For the most part, I would say that the experience that most quickly comes to mind when you ask me that question would have to do with this individual that was experiencing frequent anxiety, restlessness, constant overwhelm, difficult focusing. It was starting to affect her job, her life at home, difficulty in being the role of parent for her kids when she would come home and have nothing left in the tank, so to speak, not sleeping, really feeling just out of sorts and was afraid to go on the route of medication. And I tell people there's a time and place for everything. So let's not, completely close doors to one option. Let's be open and see. And she had seen me before for my chiropractic work. So she knew and trusted me and liked me enough to be curious about sound work. And so the first thing we did is while we were talking, I had her sit on my sound table. So I have a sound table, which looks like a massage table, but it's fitted with specific components that produce low frequency vibrations. If you think of like the subwoofers in a car or in a club that produces that boom, 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 it produces specific range of low frequencies. And I have frequencies that support multitude of conditions, physical and non-physical. So I put one on called PTSD. And I like that frequency because it helps balance the nervous system. It helps balance the dialogue inside the body so there can be a little bit more hush, just like Goodnight Moon. And so she was sitting on the table and noticed that her shoulders started to drop and didn't know why. She's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm not doing anything." And to make a very long story short, in about 3 to 4 sessions of using the sound table, tuning forks, and drum, I don't know if you can see the drum in the bottom corner of the screen. It's a 22-inch hand drum, which produces a very deep, pulsating, low frequency sound, which is kind of like a pulsing wave, like a pressure washer to flush out and push out stagnation. It's long been said that we keep our issues in our tissues,
Mhm.
and her upper back and her shoulders were like granite. And so she tried massage, she tried all these things, but it just wasn't breaking free. And she realized it wasn't just tissue tension, it was emotional tension. She had challenges expressing herself, speaking her mind, feeling judged when she spoke. These are things that a lot of people deal with. I came from that place. I was afraid to speak my mind. I was afraid to take off my mask. God forbid people see how I really am or what I really feel. And so to see her transformation, looking back at what she's doing now, and a whole new job, her mindset, she's really tapped into her own healing work. It's like watching someone go through this complete evolution of being in this wound, in this cocoon of wound, and that was necessary for her to better understand the polarity, the contrast of what was on the other side. And she had to do the work. I gave her homework for sure. It's definitely not a snap finger magic wand. There's things that I help facilitate, but then we still have that free will and that choice to repeat or repair
Mhm.
the issues that we have going on. But yeah, that one jumps out to me a great deal. It was plus it was in the infancy of when I was doing sound work, so it really stood out as wow, we're onto something here.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of people that do what you do, and Dr. Melinda today earlier was saying how important it was to be able to have that emotional part of it. A lot of people just focus on the physical side, right? It's like, why do I feel so tired?
Absolutely.
Like my shoulders. For the longest time, my husband was in a work that he just was not happy, and he would come
Mhm.
home. I'm not kidding you. He would come through the door, and I would see him like this,
Yeah.
and that's huge tension. He left his job. Now he's like normal. He's
Hmm.
relaxed. He didn't realize how much that particular work affected him until he was out of that situation. But a lot of times, sometimes we're in situations that we don't even realize that it's happening, but our body is mimicking what we're feeling.
Well,
Absolutely.
it's a
You said it best.
physiological responses to the anxiety. It's a physiological response. And I love how you're doing something like sound therapy that is benign but so helpful. You're not going to have any bad side effect from it. You're not going to have anyone having issues with that, but it's going to help them to heal at the cellular level, which is
Hmm.
powerful.
At the cellular level, as you know, is where everything exists in a vibrational state, either in balance or not in balance, not in homeostasis. And to your point, it's a very benign offering. And there are a few instances where if we're doing a deeper type of work, let's just say, for example, and I have some folks where we've done deeper trauma release work. And in that type of work, if you're talking about something that a person has not been looking at or dealing with for many, many years and has done an excellent job suppressing and repressing, when those things start to move, there's a physiological expression, and sometimes there can be, extreme fatigue, or there can be a feeling that you have the flu, and sometimes they'll call that like a detox healing effect, which is just the body releasing. I've had sessions where I've been worked on, and shortly thereafter I felt like I had a stomach bug for 4 or 5 hours, and I liken it to looking at the body as releasing and letting go, and that's the part of the body that holds on to the waste that we don't need anymore. So I recognize now that these things happen as indications of how deeply rooted a problem may be, or how entangled, it's probably the best word, that problem may be with other issues. So there's two different types of work that I offer: one that's more of the gentler relaxation work, and one that's a little bit more, um, I'll say, in depth, because it means we're going in a little bit more than just below the surface, but only if people are willing to go there to clear and work on some of these deeper held patterns and restrictions.
So, what are some things you've been seeing? I know with COVID and stuff, there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of, I guess, past coming back and remembering things, right?
Yes,
What are things
exactly,
that
100%.
people can do from home? You know, a lot of times when you say meditation, what does that entitle, right? A lot of times people don't really know what that really means. Can you explain a little bit more from your perspective what you recommend and what people can actually do from home?
Absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head. These last several weeks, it's been, let's say 12, 13 weeks or so. I know it's been a little different from the timeline out west where you are to here in New Hampshire. And so immediately it felt like the pressure cooker was turned on high and individuals just had nowhere to go and literally could not go anywhere. And I had been offering sound meditation at live venues, and that completely, went by the wayside. And thought, I have equipment. I'm sure I could stream this. I've not tried it before, but how hard could that be?
Mhm.
Well, I have been so grateful to be able to now reach a broader audience with these sound meditations, especially with people who've never, ever tried it before or knew what it was. And I keep it simple. I Most people, and this is an assumption, we never want to make assumptions, but there's a general idea that meditation is trying to quiet your thoughts or stop your thoughts from happening. And I make it clear that that's going to set us up for failure. That is a beneficial outcome from
Mhm.
meditation, but that's not our goal. Really, what meditation is for me is a state of being aware of yourself. It's being aware and noticing in the moment what you're feeling and what you're thinking. But if you ever remember when you were a child looking at the sky and watching the clouds go by, and you just watch them go by, you're not really following it. You just go to the next one and it moves. That's how I approach meditation. Notice what's showing up and just observe it, because most of the time in our daily experience, we are entangled and consumed in the charge of the experience that we're in. And meditation gives us an opportunity to simply be aware and let something be. And with practice, you can take it further and invite specific feelings, thoughts, or points of awareness. And that's with the sound meditation work, a lot of what I do, whether we focus on breath, whether we focus on a specific word, mantra, specific. The last meditation I did, we worked with something called mudras, which are specific hand gestures that you hold simply while breathing and listening to the sound. And people were noticing some really intense shifts with feelings of heaviness just going away, and they didn't know how or why. And I'm like, we don't need to be able to explain that. You just became aware of the present, and that released or dissolved the cord that was keeping you entangled with either the past, or in this case, I feel what's happening a lot is entanglement with the future that is very unknown and very unclear for many people.
I love how your perspective of meditation, because really it's a mindfulness practice, and people are very intimidated by it because they don't really think that they're able to do it. It's just too hard for them. But I love the way your perspective is. It's just being present in the moment. And people do meditation in different ways. Like I tell people, have you ever done yoga? Have you ever played the piano? Well, that's meditation and practice. It's
Absolutely.
focusing on something. It could be emotional, it could be something physical, it could just be your breath, but being mindful and aware of what you're doing at that present time. That's what
Mm-hmm.
meditation is. And when you're able to take that focus on something else other than your worry, then that worry is sidestepped, at least for that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could help patients, because this is what I do, I tell people, do not be intimidated by meditation. If you pray nightly, if you pray, that's meditation.
Yeah.
So people do it without knowing, but what we're trying to do is be mindful about it. Make it intentional. That's what meditation is, an intentional act of breathing, of focusing on something else other than a worry that you have. And it can be amazing how it can start healing your body at a cellular level. So I love, love, love the image of the clouds because I totally did that as a kid. I mean,
Yeah.
Most of us
I
did.
totally did that. And we would try to figure out, what do you see?
What shape is
I
that?
saw
Right.
Scooby Doo. I saw an elephant. What is it that you saw? And it was fun, but it took your mind away from whatever you had to worry about. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. That's the power of meditation, and we need to do that more, especially at this time. Because Krista, you bring up a very good point. I'm seeing a lot of anxiety right now. I love that the way that you heal people is through sound. You have exactly the right tools with the internet and streaming, where you can help so many people. And I love that you're able to do that.
It's been an amazing journey, and I feel that the sound is like meditation training wheels
Mhm.
because the sound waves, in a way, keep your mind busy noticing, oh, what's that noise? And before you know it, I mean, there's people that will fall asleep and then they feel that they didn't get the benefit. They're like, I don't know what happened, Carlos. You started talking about water and I heard the sound, and before I knew it, you were wrapping up. And I said, that's an hour later. So
Mhm.
it never ceases to to surprise me anymore, but it always amazes me. And I'm grateful that these sound instruments are, really readily available for anyone to utilize on their own, whether it's just to practice your own meditation at home, or if you want to really explore sound healing. It's there are so many resources to help all walks of life be introduced and be comfortable with using sound as a way to facilitate meditation or healing in general.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Carlos Perez, for being here today. And you have a true calling, and we want to thank you for sharing everything you have said with us today. And fantastic work. And we're looking forward to hear more in the future and see how everything's going from your end, since you're in the other side of the country, but we're still connected and still close
Always.
by. So, is there any website or any social media accounts people can reach you if they want to speak with you or anything like that?
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I love talking about sound healing, and recognize that time and space are just illusions. And regardless of this distance that exists between us, we're reaching to people that can benefit from the message we have to share. And I'm grateful that you have this platform for us to be able to do this. Thank you so much. The easiest way to find my work would be through my website, which is www.backinmotionpllc.com. And I've been putting all of my live stream meditations on YouTube afterwards, so they are readily accessible for viewing for folks that maybe can't always be present at that time that I'm broadcasting. And so there's about a dozen or more meditations. Every 2 weeks, I tend to offer one through Facebook. But the shortcut website for the YouTube channel is tinyurl.com/backinmotion PLLC.
Okay, and I'll go ahead and put all that information. And thank you so much, Carlos, and I for everything you have done today and for showing the community that even though something has changed, you're still there to help them out and you're still there for them. So again, thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you,
Thank
Carlos.
you both. It's great to see you both. Blessings. Take care.